Riley narratives are driving me crazy, dog. You got people saying how he doesn't know defense, he'll never get the defense right, how USC is failing under him. Like, what? First of all, how is USC failing under Lincoln Riley when he has a winning record and he just had an 11-win season his first year with the program? And this whole narrative that Lincoln Riley doesn't know defense really frustrates me, because how can you say he'll never get the defense right when he's only had one defensive coordinator his whole entire coaching career, and that guy has been Alex Grinch? He just cut ties with him and brought in D'Anton Lynn, who elevated UCLA's defense in one season from one of the worst in college football to one of the best. He also has an NFL background. D'Anton Lynn's father is Anthony Lynn, who was the former head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers. Like, these Lincoln Riley narratives are absolutely absurd. And I'm getting really frustrated with them. And I'm not even a USC fan, so I can only imagine how you Trojans fans feel every time you wake up and you see somebody slandering Lincoln Riley. How can you say he's never going to get the defense right when he just brought in a whole entirely revamped defensive staff with a lot of big names? Alex Grinch, we already know, should have been fired by Lincoln a long time ago. The problem with USC last year was Alex Grinch's defense. His defenses costed them 4, 5, several games that they should have possibly won if they would have played slightly better. I'm getting tired of people gassing up the Big Ten like this is a great conference. The Big Ten is the most overrated conference in college football. Did you guys not see who was in their conference championship game last year? Iowa, who has absolutely zero offense. Their defense was scoring more points than their damn offense, man. James Franklin is the most overrated head coach in college football. I call him Little Games James Franklin. Yes, USC and Lincoln Riley are going to have to adapt to the style of play in the Big Ten, but the Big Ten is also going to have to adapt to Lincoln Riley. They don't see receivers like Zachariah Branch in the Big Ten like that. The only offenses in the Big Ten that are similar to Lincoln Riley's in terms of how dynamic they are on the outside is Ohio State, and that's about it. I'm just so annoyed with these weak narratives and takes when it comes to Lincoln Riley, because I feel like they are extremely misguided. Lincoln Riley is a good coach. This dude has a winning record. He's one of the most winningest coaches in college football right now. He's been to the college football playoffs several times. He's put numerous offensive linemen in the NFL, such as Andrew Voorhees, Cody Ford, Creed Humphrey when he was down there at Oklahoma. Like, we have to cut it out with these Lincoln Riley narratives because they are simply not true. You can't say a guy doesn't know defense when he's only had one defensive coordinator his entire career. He just said at the start of this offseason, he was committed to making sure USC was going to be better on the defensive end. Okay? D'Anton Lynn is going to improve that defense dramatically this year. Is it going to be a top 40 defense? Maybe not. But it's definitely damn sure going to be way better than what they've gotten from that side of the ball out of Alex Grinch. This dude had no business being the defensive coordinator. Imagine if Lincoln Riley would have cut bait with Alex Grinch back when he was at Oklahoma. He may have been in a national championship. But the narrative that USC is failing under Lincoln Riley, how? When they just had an 11-win season in his first year with the program. They overachieved. I don't hear nobody talking about how bad LSU's defense was under Brian Kelly last year. That was the worst defense LSU ever had in the history of their program. But are people saying LSU's failing under Brian Kelly? Because remember, around this time last year, people were saying how when LSU beat Alabama and Brian Kelly's first year, it was a passing of the torch. I remember. I didn't forget how people were trying to anoint LSU as the SEC West champions, trying to say how they have already surpassed Alabama. Like, what? And I don't buy this story that Lincoln Riley didn't want to play LSU week 1. With how conference realignment has oversaturated these conferences, you can't duck competition. No matter if you want to play them week 1 or if you want to play them later in the season, everybody's playing tough competition. Everybody has tough schedules now. So there really isn't ducking nobody. And I strongly doubt that Lincoln Riley didn't want to play LSU because he's scared he might end up losing early. This is college football. Every coach wants to compete. And people act as if these problems that USC is having on the defensive line and offensive line will never get solved. He's in California, and one of the most talented, rich states when it comes to high school recruits. It shouldn't be too hard for him to revamp the O line and D line. Hell, they got a lot of money to spend down there. Also, when it comes to their alumni and NIL backing, they got Bear Alexander. You mean to tell me they can't find one more quality defensive tackle? I'm pretty confident that Lincoln Riley is going to be perfectly fine at USC. I don't think that USC is going to struggle year 1 in the Big Ten. This conference is so overrated. Like, I cannot wait for this season to start because people keep gassing up this damn conference so much, and it frustrates me because they've only had 3 teams that have mattered for well over the last 5 years: Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, and then everybody else. So USC is going to be the same punching bag that Northwestern has been for so long, and Rutgers. Like, cut it out, bro. We got to stop with these overblown narratives about Lincoln Riley. He has a new defensive coordinator in there that already has a good resume based on what he did 1 year at UCLA. He has a revamped staff. People keep talking about this LSU USC game when, in all honesty, I think that both of these two teams are evenly matched. LSU has the same questions defensively that USC has going into that game. They don't know how good they're going to be on the interior of their defensive line, and they're lacking talent on all levels. They got a really good coaching staff with a really good defensive coordinator, but you're hoping that Blake Baker is going to be able to elevate that defense with the fact that they don't necessarily have the talent needed to be able to compete at a national championship level, at least when it comes to the interior of their defensive line. Same thing with USC. I wish that people would stop with these overblown takes about Lincoln Riley because they are extremely misguided.